You did speak a little bit about efficiency. There's a big sort of discussion in your book about the bad scholarship on the effectiveness of public-owned companies, or the ineffectiveness, I should say. If the work is bad, how does this sustain itself out there? And is it just a group thing? Are there particular institutions that are responsible for popularizing the bad research about publicly owned institutions?
Yeah, well, I think not just with regards to public ownership, but neoliberalism has done a really good job since the 1970s of spreading everywhere, spreading its tentacles into the academy, to Koch brothers. You know, the amount of wealth and money that's gone into popularizing some of these misconceptions is amazing. And we're seeing the fruits of that in popular discourse. So the whole government is the problem, not the solution narrative, or the Margaret Thatcher, there's no alternative. You know, these really got popularized when there isn't actually a strong theoretical or empirical basis behind that, which I think is really important. I think one of the things that I would say about efficiency is there are a lot of studies that go into efficiency and they're purely measuring profits. It's just a financial metric. What is more profitable than something else? And even on some of those measures, public ownership actually stacks up pretty favorably in some cases. But I think we need to think very differently about efficiency. There needs to be a much wider concept of what is efficient beyond the pure financial metrics. And I tell this story as well because it's a really great example. So I don't know if anyone's heard of this concept called remailing, but apparently, and I just found this out in the research for the book, if you take a letter from, say, the Netherlands, and you're about to post it to Germany, some companies, like the private mailing companies, will actually send the parcel or the package or whatever first to India, and then they'll send it back to Germany because there's actually cheaper postal rates to send it to India than back to Germany. So from a pure financial metric, that is efficient. That's what they study. That's what economists study when they talk about efficiency. But from every other measure, that's completely insane. Like completely inefficient, especially from the perspective of climate change. So I think efficiency, we really need to think about that when we're thinking about public ownership for the future as well. So when we want to set up publicly owned companies, or we want to take over or remunicipalize previously privatized enterprises and bring them back into public control, we need to think about what are we going to be measuring them against. Because if we're only going to be measuring them against profits, it's going to be very easy for someone to come and say, oh, you had a bad quarter, you had a bad year, let's just privatize this thing. So we need to really think about what is the wider societal benefit from having public ownership. And that's really difficult to measure. And that's what a lot of these studies that I mentioned in the book come up with. It's really difficult to measure the wider effectiveness of having something public and not having private control.
That story about the mailing reminds me of the Soviet-era story of it measured sort of the efficiency of or the effectiveness of the train bureau or whatever by how much miles they had completed in a given time. And so they would send a train out to Siberia. It would sit there for a day and then come right back for no reason whatsoever. And that's cited as proof positive of the inefficiency of that sort of central planning system. But obviously the same things happen based on a for-profit system.